Hello, I'm Helen Langhammer from Aspire Consulting. The challenges and issues I describe in the previous 4 videos about Jay leading his team remotely for the first time will resonate with many of you who have been in a similar position over the past weeks. I used the Harman Brain Dominance Instrument, or HBDI, to illustrate how we can use our whole brains to approach not just these, but any management decisions or problems. The HBDI measures our preference for thinking in a particular style, whether that's logically or with empathy, focused on the new and uncharted, or in ensuring perfection in implementation. The tool will measure the degree of preference we feel for each of these 4 quadrants. But an important distinction to note is that while the tool measures our preferences, it does not measure our abilities in each style. For example, you may have a preference for yellow, idea-orientated, conceptual thinking, and your green process and detailed focus score may be much lower. That doesn't mean that you can't think in a more structured manner. It just means that it will require a little bit more effort on your part. In the story I told about Jay, we don't know what his thinking style preferences are. But what is important is that he was able to demonstrate the flexibility required of whole brain leaders. He had to employ all 4 styles of thinking in order to lead his team effectively through this change. And this is the key lesson I'd like you to take away. Your HBDI profile is not an end in itself. Instead, it's a starting point for you to recognize the impact of your style on how you work, on how you communicate, and how you relate to others. That means looking at the impact of scoring low or high in a particular quadrant, capitalizing on the strengths that brings, and taking steps to address some of the potential downsides. Let's look at the whole brain thinking Jay demonstrated in the story. He knew that to focus the team's activity, they needed clarity of purpose. So in the first part of the story, he used blue, goal-orientated thinking. He got the team to think about what they were expected to deliver collectively and individually, and he was able to pull them together and steer them on the right course. However, if he had focused solely on goals and targets for what the team had to deliver, he could run the risk of demoralizing them. Instead, he used red thinking, in acknowledging the emotional upheaval they were going through. He gave the team an avenue to relax and have a little fun, and help them develop a sense of connectedness even though they were socially distant from one another. Jay learned quickly that when working remotely, the team needed a lot more context to what they were doing. He encouraged them to ask questions at every step, particularly that most yellow of questions, why? He also used yellow thinking in continually looking for improvements in how they work together. Finally, he was aware that not all the team had the maturity of experience to structure their work effectively from home. So he asked team members who excelled at this to give their suggestions. This allowed those in the team whose style may have been more naturally green than Jay's to play to their strengths and to teach others what came naturally to them. This final point is crucial in whole-brained leadership. If there are people in your team with a higher preference for a particular style of thinking than your own, then use them. Use them as a sounding board for your ideas, or to make sure that you haven't missed any details, that what you're asking of the team won't demotivate them, or that you've got your facts and figures straight. You aren't abdicating responsibility, you're helping individuals play to their strengths, and you're getting the best from your whole brain team.